Hey, yo, YouTube, what's up? It's your boy, Black Privilege, and I wanted to take this time to weigh in on the rugged individualism, black people need to lift themselves by their bootstrap discussion that's going on in the Negro manosphere. Yeah, of course, it's being facilitated by Brother BGS Ibmore because, you know what, most of the adult conversations are going down his pathway. So, yeah, let's deal with it. I'd like to say flat out that I do agree with BGS Ibmore, that it's irrational to ask black people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps when other nations and other nationalities have been granted so much financial assistance, so much legal protection by the powers that be, by the state, and we're supposed to be, as black people, we're supposed to take care of ourselves and pull ourselves up by our own assets, which they are foreclosing on. It's irrational. It's unfair to us. But there's a problem with Brother BGS Ibmore's logic. Mainly that he doesn't understand that it doesn't matter how unfair it is, we have to pull ourselves up. There's absolutely no other alternative. Either we pull ourselves up or we let ourselves die. That's the dichotomy that I don't see him picking up on. There's a certain warmness. There's a certain safety. There's a certain familiarity with being an underdog. And I think black people have, for the most part, wallowed around in a state of perpetual helplessness way too long. I think we've gotten comfortable as being underdogs, and I think we need to address that first. What is going to be the motivation for us to grind and pull ourselves up to make ourselves a more financially assertive political entity? That's the real problem. What is going to motivate black people to even try to pull themselves up by their bootstraps? Whether or not they could achieve it is a side issue. The fact is, we need to find the motivation. We need to find the factor that's going to make us want to make a better world for our women and our children. And that's what I've been saying the longest time. Let family be the underlining value. Because the black manosphere don't want to recognize that our team ain't in order. And I mean that in a literal sense. Our team, the transcendent African Americans like Jay-Z and Oprah Winfrey and Diddy and all them, the ones that have their money, the mainstream African Americans, the hard workers, the union workers, the abandoned class African Americans, the Ray Rays and the Pookies, and the emergent class African Americans, the immigrants, the doers, the thinkers, the mixed race. They all have different priorities. They all have different goals. And until we unify our goal under one black diaspora, we are individuals. And we're going to be fighting against collectives. Now, the mainstream African American class, they believe that we're going to see some kind of redress when it comes to reparations. And I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it happening because that falls out of favor with both the democratic socialists who want a unified political class of proletariats, you know, the Bernie Sanders and the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezes. They want a unified political class. They want practically Marxism and communism. While the Republican class, they want the usual Reagan-era neoliberalism and Judeo-Christian fundamentalism. American descendants of slavery can't compete with the democratic socialists. American descendants of slavery cannot compete with the rugged individualist, neoliberal, capitalist Judeo-Christians. They can't. It's you don't have the chips on the table to fight for what you want. Now, I really wish we had a game plan. Like, I have small goals when it comes to a black community. I want an ADOS member on the Congressional Black Caucus. How do you achieve that? Is it even possible? Is the Congressional Black Caucus just a leash that the Democratic Party sicked on the black community to keep us in order? I don't know, but I want some kind of financial treasurer. I wouldn't mind Yvette Carnell being the treasurer of the Congressional Black Caucus. I wouldn't mind Vicki Dillard being a spokesperson in some capacity. That's what I would consider a victory for the ADOS movement. Not this grandiose election year pandering campaign of thinking that they're going to cut us a check. It's not going to happen. They're not going to cut us a check. They're going to lie about cutting us a check. And then they're going to write an even bigger check to the Latin American community because, hey, we saw over the summer, we saw over the, over March and shit that they're willing to shut down the government for migrants who don't even live here. They're not willing to do the same for us. Who is your allies? You don't know. What is your motivation? You don't know. What does victory look like for an ADOS movement? You don't know. All you do know is that your family is depending on you. So you have to be strong. All you do know is that you are a man and you have to provide. So look at the kids coming over. So what I'm saying is, it's a foregone conclusion that we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Whether we are successful at it or not is a side issue. The drive to take the first step is the most important issue. The drive to make things better is the most important issue. And as long as we are separated along 4 axes of transcendent blacks, mainstream blacks, abandoned class blacks, and emergent class blacks, there's no team. There's absolutely no team in the black community. Principally, I hope we eventually learn that our children are our team, and we make laws and policies that protect our children, even if it means letting them dress up in glitter and, you know, that LGBT shit. You're going to have to choose to accept it. Or if you're going to go the Republican route, teach them how to be rugged individualists. There is no alternative but to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. You're going to have to get in the ring with that 800-pound gorilla with box cutters in his hands called racism, and you're going to slap that motherfucker and tell him that you're the boss. It's your boy, Black Privilege. Hit me up. Peace.